Isis, those are the Enneads, the 9 beings. Okay? Like Osar and Isis and Horus, all those are composed of the Enneads. And the Enneads in ancient Egypt come from the Ogdoads. Have you ever heard of them? Or the Chamenu. These are your ancient ancestors that were on this planet. And you, as a Negroid being, in your genetics, you originate from the Sans people. Have you heard of the Sans people before?
No.
Okay, so all this is new to you. Okay, so the Sans people have all the original genetics on this planet. All of the features that you see in each race of people, the Sans people have in their genes. And the Sans, the Kalahari Bushmen, you see? The Kalahari Bushmen are the ones who germinated or came out of the waters. Okay? In other words, before you have walked on land, you were actually in the waters. As sea creatures, as mermaids and mermen.
You weren't reptilians?
Yes, you were. You're still a reptilian, but you were in the waters. You see? Well, so you're in the waters as sea men, as mermaids and mermen. In ancient Egypt, they had hieroglyphics of mermaids. Okay? So, yeah, that was our story. Because in our genetic experiment, you have what they call the Nun Project. Y'all walking with me? I don't want to give too much. But the Nun Project was a genetic experiment where they put the genes of the spermatozoa, right, fertilized with the ovum and the egg, and through a process called in vitro fertilization, they put the egg cells, the fertilized egg cell, inside of the dolphin. Okay? When you read the Holy Tablets, this also goes into it. But in this day and time, we're explaining that you have a connection as a humanoid being to the dolphins on this planet that are in the seas, that are in the waters. That's why the human chromosomes are so closely linked to the dolphins' chromosomes. And when you look up at the Sans people, the Kalahari Bushmen, they speak with a click. It's a language called Xhosa. The click sound is how they communicated with the dolphins in the waters and other sea creatures, because dolphins deal with echolocation, the ability to hear sounds under the waters, and when the sound bounces off of certain objects, they can pinpoint their location. The same way when the Sans people, they speak with the click. That clicking sound is the same way they communicate with these water or sea creatures. You follow me? Y'all walking with me? Okay, so in your genes, all right, the genes of the African DNA was placed, inserted inside of the dolphin, transported into this planet, into the waters, and then you were germinated as algae and fungi as one-cell organisms. And then from the one-cell organisms, you multiplied into multicellular organisms and became bigger and bigger and bigger masses of bodies. All right? So this is 19 million years ago that this happened. You follow? So there's a long evolution of our species on this planet. You've been here for millions of years, as opposed to thousands of years. Yes?
So at this point, we're talking about what's the water city?
Atlantis?
Right.
Yes.
At this point, we're talking about Atlantis.
Okay, Atlantis is a certain period of time where we had Egyptian structures and Egyptian civilization. That is correct. But Atlantis sunk. What we're talking about here is 19 million years before Atlantis existed. Meaning that when you were in the waters as mermaids and mermen, still to this day you're breathing in water. All right? The planet Earth is 75% water. The air that you breathe has water in it. You follow? The water, you're breathing in water right now. So the planet Earth is not technically a planet as far as a land mass, but it's an aquarium. Okay? When you look at the Earth from space, what's the dominant factor? Water. That's why they call it the blue rock. Right? Panabab Yanun said in the class, the name of your planet is called Zarkaya. Right? Zarkaya. The word Zarkaya or Zarik in Arabic means blue. Right? Which is the color of the water. You follow me? In your genes right now, your body's composed of 75% water. You have 24 trillion cells. And cells are composed of water, and you even have a water that surrounds the cell itself. You follow? And if you don't have water, you dehydrate and you die. If you don't have water in your body, everything in your body functions through water. So in ancient Egypt, the beings, remember, Panabab Yanin explained to us that the ancestors are in your genetics. So the Octowads, like Nun and Nuntat, they were the male and female deities of water, which rule the lymphatic system and your circulatory system. You see? The circulatory system is the circular motion of you moving the blood through the body. And the lymphatic system is the part that takes the trash or the waste products inside of the cell and pushes it into different areas. It's a whole process that the lymphatic system works. You follow me?
So it's in another area, there's something else in that area that's going to deal with that.
Yes, yes. As Panabab Yanin explained, he says that your lymphocytes, you follow? What they do is they take the waste product out of the cell and distribute it into the blood. And take something from the blood and distribute it back into the cell. So it's like a sewage system, a refinery process inside of your genes. The Ogdowads, you follow, represent these ancestors represent these deities or these principles inside of your body. The same way Ashtet, Isis, she represents the red blood cells. Right? What do your red blood cells deal with? The hemoglobin. Right? What makes you supreme is your melanin, because your melanin produces hemoglobin throughout the body. So when you get cut, you don't bleed automatically. There's a process that happens inside of your genes that repairs the tissues and the organs. Whereas a Caucasian who is a melanin recessive being, when they cut, they can either bleed out or die from hemophilia. You see? So there's a voluntary process and an involuntary process